Alright, what's up guys? Welcome back to Bringing Division video. Today I want to talk about some of the information that is not as hyped as Gear 2.0 or some of the changes with the calibration, skill power. This information was mentioned either on the state of game from developers or Reddit or Twitter, and in my opinion this information is still very important. Obviously it's not as hyped as the different changes to, again, Gear 2.0 or recalibrating or even stuff with episode 3 coming out. This information is more on the low-key side, but again, I still want to go over this in case you have missed it, in case you haven't really heard about it in the past couple of days. I do want to say all this information I will be talking about is not coming in episode 3. This is later on, either in TU7 or anything after that. Unfortunately, we do not have a specific date for TU7, but I'm sure it's not going to be too far away from episode 3 when it drops in February. Also, I do want to say, if you want to see any of the previous videos on Gear 2.0 or Episode 3 like Coney Island, some of the stuff that are coming with that patch, I will have links in the description. You guys can check it out. I will have like 2 or 3 videos down there, just in case you're not in the loop and you want to see the information. Once again, check out the description. Alright, so the first thing I do want to talk about is actually battery mods. So yes, battery mods are getting removed from the game after Episode 3. Which is pretty funny because they got introduced into the game not too long ago. They were pretty powerful once they first came out. Later on they kind of got tweaked, and yeah, it's just kind of funny that they're just getting removed now after episode 3. A lot of people are kind of mixed emotions, I would say. Some people are happy about this, some people are not. To be honest, to me, it doesn't really matter too much. I'm not one of those people that uses a lot of skill power builds for PvP or PvE, or just utility builds overall. But yeah, we're not really sure what happens if you have these mods on your build or in your stash after they get removed. Do you get credits back? Do you maybe get a proficiency cache? Do you maybe get some keys? We're not really sure, but yeah, these mods are getting removed. This has been confirmed by a dev on the state of game about 2 weeks ago. The next thing is explosive damage. So as well with battery mods, explosive damage will be gone after episode 3. Which is kind of sad. I know a lot of people like reusing explosive damage builds for PvE to pretty much one-shot bosses, or if you're running solo, you can make some nasty explosive damage builds. This will be removed and everything will be kind of changed into skill damage. That's going to be the new kind of thing. So instead of having explosive damage, instead of having this kind of damage or that type of damage, everything will just be called skill damage. So if you want to use, you know, your turret or maybe like seekers, whatever, all you have to do is just run skill damage on your build, and that's pretty much gonna beef it up and make it a little bit better. The next thing is movement changes. So they actually talked about movement changes, I think 2 weeks ago as well on a steady game. It's not crazy news, or it's not really too significant, but they are doing changes or tweaks to the side-to-side movement. Now, to be honest, that's something that I don't really have an issue with, personally. Maybe I'm on PC, that's why. Like, I don't really experience it too much. With a mouse and keyboard, it's a little bit easier to, you know, do side-to-side movement, or your character doesn't feel as clunky. But on consoles, I could understand maybe why they're tweaking this a little bit. I don't know, let me know in the comments if the side-to-side movement on consoles is kind of bad, or if it does need tweaking in your opinion. But yeah, this will be, again, another change coming after episode 3. The next piece of information I do want to talk about is actually faster skill deployment. Now this is something I've been talking about for pretty much ever on this game. You guys can go back to my older videos when the game first came out. I have always been saying that faster skill deployment is a must in this game. Now yes, they have adjusted this in the past. They made skills a little bit faster to deploy, or just kind of not as clunky to use, especially in combat and PvP. And yes, there is a few skills like the chem launcher or maybe like the drone, which is pretty easy and it doesn't feel clunky to deploy. But something like the turret, or even sometimes like the seeker mine, feels like super clunky to deploy, especially when you're in combat. So after episode 3, there's going to be a faster skill deployment. We're not really sure how much faster this is going to be, or if it's going to be a great change. But yeah, another great piece of news. I know a lot of people have been saying this as well, that the faster skill deployment has to be something kind of looked at, and they are changing this as well, which is great news. Again, especially for like the dark zone for PvP, faster skill deployment will be beneficial for that, because for PvE it doesn't really matter too much, at least in my opinion. But for something like if you're in combat, you're not going to be taking like 2 or 3 seconds to put down a turret in the middle of the gunfight, because you're just pretty much going to die right away. So hopefully this makes a bigger difference for those skills, and I guess we'll have to see and find out if it actually does. The next piece of information I want to talk about that was also mentioned on the study game is the higher the difficulty of content, the higher overall quality of gear you will receive on average. So pretty much what that means is, let's take Jefferson Trade Center for example, the mission. Let's say you were doing this on Heroic now, the only thing you're really getting is more loot than if you were doing this on Challenging. But after this change, after episode 3 when this change comes out, if you're going to be doing Heroic missions, let's say again Jefferson Trade Center, all the gear you'll be getting either from bosses at the end or just overall from the mission will have a higher overall quality of stats on it. It doesn't mean you're guaranteed a god roll, it doesn't mean that all the gear you'll be picking up from the mission is going to be, amazing, but it just means overall the quality of it is going to be higher than if you were doing the mission on Challenging. Again, it doesn't mean it takes away the kind of god roll aspect that Heroic is the only way to get god rolls. That's not the case. You can be still walking down the street, kill a random enemy, and you can get a god roll chest piece or a mask. But again, there is just another kind of purpose of playing Heroic missions, because now, again, the only thing you're really benefiting is you're getting more loot. That's about it. It can be still trash, it can be still, not what you're looking for, but if you're farming Heroic missions after this, then the loot you will be picking up is going to be better than if you were doing the mission on Challenging. In my opinion, this is a great change. Not only does it give you a kind of different perspective for a mission, because obviously it's going to be a little bit harder, there's going to be more kind of bosses around the mission and stuff like that if you're doing this on Heroic, but you're also getting rewarded with better loot overall. Obviously, it might be something solo players can struggle with unless you have a really good build, but in my opinion, if you have a team, even 2 of you, you can go into a Heroic mission and know that your time of doing that mission is going to be rewarded with better loot at the end or during the mission. The next thing I want to talk about is actually attachments. So now in the game, we actually have attachments still with critical range. As you guys know, critical range did get removed from the game. With Gear 2.0 coming out, critical range attachments will be changed into something else. This was confirmed actually on Twitter. We're not really sure what the change is going to be, if it's going to be like critical hit chance, critical hit damage, or whatever. But I know a lot of people are kind of asking this question as well. I had the same question like a couple days ago, like why are there still mods or attachments in the game with critical range if there's no critical range in the game? So this will be changed in Gear 2.0. The next subject I want to talk about is actually shotguns. So the shotguns are actually getting nerfed in PvP. Now keep in mind, this is not in episode 3, this is later on. But we did get a confirmation on Twitter that the double barrel shotgun is getting nerfed, the damage is getting nerfed by 40%. I'm not really sure if this is all shotguns getting nerfed, if this tweet confirms that all of them are getting nerfed, or if this one specifically is getting nerfed for PvP. To be honest, I can't really talk about this subject too much. I don't really play Dark Zone too much. I go there sometimes to farm a little bit, or maybe check out the vendors, or just kind of go there and collect some items. But if you do play a lot of Dark Zone, let me know if the shotguns are still a problem. I've been hearing from a few of my friends that it is, but the meta kind of switched over. Some people are like using a lot of rifle builds for the Dark Zone now, and just other builds that are kind of annoying as well. But yeah, anyone still wondering about shotguns, yes, they are getting nerfed in PvP in the future. The final piece of information I want to talk about is actually something that was confirmed on Twitter, and this, in my opinion, is some pretty big news, and what that is all stats will be available on all pieces in the future. So what that means is you'll be able to have headshot damage or weapon damage or health or armor on all 6 of your gear pieces in the future. Now obviously this is going to make a little bit of an easier way to make those glass cannon builds or those tank builds, but in some way it's also going to make a kind of different approach that if you are speccing a lot into weapon damage or headshot damage, you're obviously sacrificing that health, you're obviously sacrificing that armor, and you're not going to be capable of making those builds with like a crap ton of headshot damage, but also like 400,000 armor, which is going to make your survivability very, very high. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. That's pretty big news in my opinion. I'm not really sure how many of you guys actually known about this or not. I've seen this on Reddit before, but I wanted to see the official or like the actual tweet. And yeah, pretty interesting. I'm pretty excited to see how it's going to work in the future, and if this is obviously a good change or a bad change, and how people will kind of make it work with their builds. But anyway, that's going to be everything with the video. Thank you all so much for watching. If you guys have any questions, or if I did miss anything that's pretty significant but not a lot of people might be talking about it, or it's kind of low-key again, let me know in the comment section below. I'm interested to see what you guys have to say. And yeah, that'll be it for the video. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to my videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.